Globalization is such a vast and highly polysemous concept that can turn out to be misleading and often even incomprehensible. For this reason, it has been defined as a container of notions. However, everyone knows what living in a globalized context means. Despite there are many lines of thought about it, it is not an abstract issue, and its actualization process is older than we think. Suffice it to think about where we live. Knowing the history of the Mediterranean means being aware that it includes the Arab people. Recognizing their contributions would encourage the creation of relationships based on communication. We live in a contradictory era. On one hand, there is a hidden obscurantism that gradually influences the mass little by little. On the other hand, an increasing accessibility to information is helping to encourage people to open their mind and be inclined to choose free dialogue among cultures. By knowing the historical evolution, we can acquire the necessary information to develop a critical thought. The conquests achieved by the Arabs transformed the Mediterranean basin into an area rich from any point of view. It is historically proved that in these people, science, trade, and arts thrived thanks to their concentration on spreading knowledge. They reached great results both in scientific and humanistic fields. They were competent doctors, renowned inventors, theorists of math and physics, as well as architects, decorators, and writers. Evidences of this richness can be found in the Arabic linguistic heritage in the Italian idiom, of which we can mention the surnames, especially those from southern Italy, as well as meteorological words such as scirocco from Janub al-Sharqi, but also agricultural and medical terms as sciroppo from Sharub. Last but not least, mathematical words as algebra from Jabr and zenith from Semt. Moreover, in many Italian cities, we can still experience an Arabic atmosphere. Together with the undisputed Palermo, there are Otranto, the easternmost city of the peninsula, and Venice, that has always been an inevitable passage for trade. It is unavoidable to dedicate a few minutes to the history of Spain, whose current configuration in terms of cultural identity cannot set aside one of its most important periods, that is the Arab domination. The area was named Al-Andalus, and it was their westernmost rule. This place, nowadays called Andalusia, is the greatest display of how wonderful the Arab culture is, and it still preserves the signs of its coexistence with the Catholic traditions. Concerning the art disciplines, the main styles were the Moorish and the Mudéjar, that includes the azulejos. The Spanish palaces, like the Egyptian ones, have reliefs in stone and inlays in marble, but the most characterizing elements are the mukarnas, wooden components used to cover the surface of vaults in stone. Arabic figurative art did not center on representing humans and animals, like the European one used to do. Consequently, Arabic artists did not study anatomy and perspective, but the ornamental style, inspired to geometric figures, their alphabet, whose letters are a form of art, and to vegetable forms, from whose stylization was created the so-called arabesque motif. Concerning literature, the main forms were poems, called qasida, and the popular poetry, such as the kharchas. At the end of the 10th century, the genre called mekema became widespread. Its importance derives from its consideration of being the precursor of the picaresque novel, whose principal work is the Lazarillo de Tormes. The idiom is probably the most influenced Spanish cultural aspect. It was estimated that there are around 4,000 Arabic headwords, of which 2,300 are toponyms. Such huge transmission of words was made possible thanks to the Mozarabic mediation. The Mozarabs were Christians not converted to Islam who benefited from a special status called dhimma. Among thousands of words and common expressions, we can mention ojalá, that means hopefully, and comes from inshallah, God willing. A noteworthy topic regards the Maltese language, considered a real linguistic phenomenon. Defining Maltese implies to include various aspects. First of all, it is spoken in a small archipelago that seems far, but it actually is very close both to Europe and Africa, two continents with a great historical and cultural background. Second, it is spoken by a small but homogeneous community with a strong sense of national identity, characteristic that has contributed to affirm the national language. Moreover, being accustomed to cohabit with other cultures facilitated Maltese people to be bilinguals. In addition, the Maltese is the only Arabic dialect that achieved the title of official language, and it is the only Semitic idiom in Europe. It merges three main linguistic families: the Semitic, the Romance, and the Germanic one. The Arabic elements are present in the grammar, the etymology, the construction of verbs and nouns, and the syntax. Despite this, the Arabic alphabet has been simplified by eliminating the hardest phonemes to pronounce, like Hamza, Kaf, Ghain, and Ha. For example, the labidental letter B in the spoken language becomes P, so the word telebet, that comes from telebatu and means I asked or you asked, is pronounced telepet. It is the same for the word bieb from bab, that is door, and is pronounced bieb. The mix with the Italian language was made possible thanks to the Knights of Malta, whereas English began to spread in the islands in the 19th century. Regarding modern Maltese, thanks to the English presence, it achieved a new standardization, whose linguistic peculiarities have been classified. So, from standard and non-standard Maltese to the common one, and from Maltese English to the bureaucratic and literary ones. The aim of this dissertation was not to be just a mere presentation of a culture, but a demonstration that no people lives on its own, and that through the coexistence of different civilizations, it is possible to create a huge cultural richness.